Hello guys, welcome to this new video. Again, we are going to do a program based on structure. Okay, so here's the question on your screen. You can see we need to write a program to pass structure to a function display to print the name and ID of an employee. Okay, so now we need to pass a structure to a function. Okay, so and we need to display. Okay, the name of the function is display. Okay, so the function display prints the name and the ID of n employees. Okay, n employees. Okay, so that means one employee name and ID, second employee name and ID, third employee name and ID, so on, n employees. Okay, so we can see by the structure of this question the program or the structure is going to involve arrays, okay, and functions too, because yeah, it's the topic of the program itself. Okay, so let's start. Okay, we start by defining the header files. Hash include stdio.h. okay, and then we need to define a structure, right? Okay, so how do we think in this program? Okay, now we will start now we will define a structure. Okay, so now the name of the structure can be say struct employee. Okay, structure employee. Okay, so now we need name and ID, so we say char name. Okay, so as per our last videos, we saw that name is always going to be an array, because some people do have some big names, so the char, the number of bytes it stores, is not suitable or not enough to store the name of people, so we use an array. So it's better to use an array and define the size so that we can fit long names in it too. So we say an array of 20 elements, okay, and integer ID, okay, because we need employee ID, so we say integer ID. Okay, and now we start the main function. Okay, so we say void main now we define the variable of the structure, say it as s initially, so we say struct student s. Okay, one thing we have forgotten. Let's see the question once again. We need to pass structure to a function. Okay, so now as we are declaring the function after the main function, we need to display, or we need to give it a prototype. Okay, so we need to give a function prototype over here, so we say it as void display, and the parameter is obviously a function, obviously a structure, so it will be struct student, say it as s1. Okay, struct student s1. Yeah, now next, after defining the structure, now we need to, okay, one thing to note down here is, okay, now we need to use an array. Okay, that is clear. Why? Because we need to input data of n employees, so n employees will always involve an array. Okay, so first we need to ask the user how many employees does he want to print. Okay, so let's define integer n, okay, to store the number of employees. Structure student s. Okay, now we say it as printf enter the number of employees. Okay, and now we need to print them. Okay, so we say printf %d address of ampersand n. Okay, so it will be stored in n, the number of employees. Okay, now we need to note down one thing is the structure student s. Yeah, s will be an array. Why? Because it is going to initiate the for loop for storing the name and the ID. Okay, so it needs to access the structure employee n times, or the times the loop repeats. Okay, so we need to define it as an array over here. You will understand that more clearly in the further code. Okay, so we have defined it as an array. Okay, and now we can store n in it. Okay, an array of n. Okay, so n is its limit. Now we start the for loop. For say I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. Okay, now in this for loop we need to ask the user to enter the name, we need to scan the name, ask the user to enter the ID, and we need to scan the ID. So this process should be fast. Printf enter name, scanf. Okay, so now name will be a character, so it can be %s. We don't use ampersand for storing strings, so we just say it as okay, this is the tricky part. Okay, now we need to access the structure with the help of an array. Okay, now s is here an array, so we say s, with array notations, and we say dot operator to access the structure, and we say name. Okay, so now whenever the loop will run for I equal to 0, it will say enter name, and then the user will enter a name, and that will be stored in s.name. But we do not know what kind of s, what element of s, or what element of the array s it will get stored. Okay, so this will get stored at the ith part. Why? Because I is 0. Okay, so this will be s of 0.name. So s of 0.name will store the name entered by the user. Okay, and the next time the loop runs again, I will be 1. So s of 1.name will store the next name. Okay, now example like the first name is Sam, so s of 0.name will store Sam, and the next name is Peter, so s of 1.name will store Peter. Okay, so that's why we need this I over here. Okay, with the array notation. Okay.